Well, for the majority of investors, days like these can be unsettling. They can be unnerving. They can even be scary. Natalie Pace, though, is here to make sense of it. She's a financial blogger and founder and CEO of the Women's Investment Network, and she is joined by Dan Solon. He's a financial advisor and author of several financial books. All right, Natalie, we've talked about confidence. We've talked about the fear, not only the last couple of weeks, the last couple of years that these markets have instilled in investors. Please be a voice of wisdom and reason right now for us, because we need it.
Yeah, well, I think that people should get the memo that buy and hold doesn't work. America does work, and companies are definitely doing well, but we are in a give me, take me GDP growth pattern. So there are tricks that you need to learn. So in a world where buy and hold doesn't work, modern portfolio theory does work. And if you're annually rebalancing, adding in some hot industries, avoiding the bailouts, you can really have a portfolio that sings. So now is the time not to be exiting the market, but to be looking at that modern portfolio theory, which actually is easy as a pie chart, and to make sure that you are rebalancing annually so you capture any gains you have.
Right. Okay, so buy and review these days. Dan, I want to ask you, I was reading through your notes and you were saying people who panic lose. But when is it panicking and when is it just taking cover because you should or you have good reason to?
Well, if you are employing a sound strategy...
Maybe I can put that to Dan.
Oh, sorry about that.
Okay, first, let me just say I didn't get the memo buy and hold doesn't work. Buy and hold has worked for 83 years, including the last decade, for people who have a globally diversified portfolio of stocks and bonds earned annualized about 6%. So buy and hold works. People should hold a globally diversified portfolio, and they should not be focused.
Dan, excuse me, doesn't it depend when you actually did the buying and holding? In other words, so buy and hold, if you bought 3 weeks ago thinking you were going to hold, well, what do you say to somebody who had that lack of foresight?
Well, what I would have said to them before they bought is, what's an appropriate asset allocation for you? And I would have asked them what their time horizon was. How long do they intend to hold to stay in the market? If people don't have a time horizon of a minimum of 3 years, they shouldn't have any exposure to the stock market. So I'd be saying to people, look, you don't care what's happening in the market today or tomorrow. If you do, you're a trader. You're not an investor. Look at the historical data. A 60-40 asset allocation has been down for 3 years in a row, one time in the last 50 years. Professional investors buy and hold. Amateur investors panic and are focused on today's news and on people who pretend to have an expertise to predict what's going to happen when we know that nobody has that expertise.
Dan and
let's let Natalie get address what you've heard, Natalie.
Yeah.
I'd love to jump in. The S&P 500 has not done well over the last 10 years. Dan's right, it has done well over the last 30 years. However, modern portfolio theory is not some trader platform. That was written half a century ago by a man who won a Nobel Prize in 1990. This is very easy to employ, and by annually rebalancing, you would have kept your gains in the dot-com recession. You would have kept your gains before the Great Recession when the Dow cracked through 14,000, and you would have kept your gains this year before this big market downpour.
Right.
So that's the way that you fight investor fear. When you have a solid house, when your blueprint is sound, and you have a plan that works, then you don't have to freak out. In fact, people that are following this plan right now are looking at this as a buying opportunity.
Natalie and Dan.
Your blueprint is not sound.
I have to leave it there, but thank you to both of you so much for your comments tonight.